Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're investigating something really special. It's a work of art, but it's also a language. We're going to try and solve the mystery of why Persian is just so incredibly beautiful to look at.
Okay, let's start right here. Take a look at this. It's a nearly 600-year-old manuscript of poems by the great Persian poet Nizami. It was made for a sultan back in 1431. And you can see this is so much more than just a book. It's a treasure. Just look at how every single line, every heading, is just woven into this incredibly detailed design. It is absolutely stunning.
And when you see something like this, it makes you wonder, right? This isn't just some fancy decoration that they added later. No, the beauty is baked right into the script itself. It has this deep, intentional elegance. So where on earth did that come from?
All right, to get to the bottom of this, we've got to put on our detective hats. We're heading way back in time. I'm talking over 2,500 years ago to the first Persian Empire. That's where we're going to find our first big clue.
So yeah, we are going way, way back. We're talking about the time of legendary kings like Cyrus the Great and Darius. And you have to understand, this wasn't just any empire. It was one of the biggest the world had ever seen, and it was built on some really unique and powerful ideas.
Now check this out. This is a key piece of evidence for us. It's called the Cyrus Cylinder, and a lot of people consider it the world's very first Declaration of Human Rights. It basically established freedom of religion for everyone in this massive, diverse empire. Can you imagine how unbelievably forward-thinking that was for that era? Just amazing.
And that wasn't just a one-off thing. The entire empire was built on this core principle they called Arta. And Arta was this deep philosophical idea. It stood for cosmic order, for truth, and for justice. For these ancient Persians, lying wasn't just a bad habit. It was basically a mortal sin. They believed it literally tore at the fabric of the universe.
So that leads us to our first big idea, our first hypothesis. What if a culture that is so focused on inner beauty, on things like justice and truth, what if that culture naturally tries to create external beauty in everything it does? It kind of makes sense, right? That you'd want the outside to reflect the inside. A really compelling thought.
Okay, let's move on to our second clue. Now this one is less about philosophy and abstract ideas and more about just incredible hands-on skill. The kind of thing you can actually see and touch.
You see, when archaeologists started digging this stuff up, they were blown away. They found these objects with just stunning detail and sophistication. We're talking about a people who were absolute masters of their craft. Whether it was working with gold, stone, or ceramics, the things they made are still just jaw-dropping thousands of years later.
A really cool example of this is actually their clothing. So you know how the ancient Greeks wore those simple draped robes? Well, the Persians were totally different. They developed complex, tailored clothes. They were pioneers in sewing and fitting clothing to the body, which, by the way, was super practical since they were masters of riding horses. But then, they didn't just stop at practical. They turned it into an art form, with these beautiful, intricate patterns and decorations.
And this brings us right to our second hypothesis. Think about it. If you've mastered the art of making beautiful, complex things you can hold, beautiful clothes you can wear, beautiful cities you can live in, doesn't it just make sense that you'd apply that same exact standard, that same love of beauty to the language you write?
Okay, so we've got our two big clues, right? On one hand, you have this deep cultural value for inner beauty, for truth and justice. And on the other, you have this incredible technical mastery of outer beauty. So now, let's bring it all together and look at the script itself.
So the complexity starts at the most basic level imaginable, the letters themselves. In the Persian script, a single letter doesn't just have one shape. It can have up to 4 different forms, all depending on where it sits in a word, at the beginning, in the middle, at the end, or by itself. Just that one rule alone creates this amazing sense of flow and variety before you even get to the words.
But the real magic, the secret sauce, comes from this set of rules that almost feels like it was designed specifically to turn writing into a piece of art. You've got letters that fuse together into these elegant shapes. The baseline isn't just a flat, boring line. It can actually flow and curve. Letters tuck into each other's empty spaces, and you can even stretch certain strokes to create a perfect sense of balance and rhythm on the page. It's a system literally built for beauty.
And what's so amazing about this, what's truly brilliant, is that all this beauty isn't just for looks. All these rules, like fusing letters and tucking them in close,
They don't just look good, they also make the script incredibly compact and efficient. It's a linguistic principle called Sparsamkeit, which basically means economy. So in Persian, you get this incredible two-for-one deal. The beauty and the efficiency are the exact same thing.
So, when you put it all together, you have this culture that values truth, you have artisans with unbelievable skill, and then you have this set of rules for writing that perfectly combines beauty and efficiency. What does that all add up to? Well, it leads us to a really profound idea about what language can be.
It really makes you think of what the famous linguist Wilhelm von Humboldt once said. He believed that you can't really understand a language until you see it as a creative act. And that is a perfect description of what's happening here. For centuries, the people who speak and write Persian haven't just been using their language, they've been actively creating with it, turning every word into a potential work of art.
So from the soul of an ancient empire all the way down to the skill in an artisan's hands, the Persian script is this incredible reminder that the pursuit of beauty isn't some frivolous extra thing. It's a way of embedding our deepest values into the world, creating something that can last forever. And, it leaves us with one final big question to think about. Does beauty save the world?